Hello, thank you very much for tuning in to this week's segment of readings. These readings are valid for whenever you come to them, just to be fair. For the tarot portion, I'm using Wild Reflections Tarot by Yspell. I think it's Yspell. And on the back here is the yspell.com. There's some information there if you're interested to check that out. I think it's a really pretty deck. Supportive Oracle cards, one of my favorite decks too. Magical Spell Cards by Lucy Cavendish, illustrated by Jesse Reish. And there's a hayhouse.com website down there at the bottom below the barcode somewhere if you're interested. And last but not least, I do use dice. I use a 22-sided dice for the major arcana, substituting 22 for 0 for the Fool. And then I use a 14-sided dice for the minor arcana, and a 4-sided dice to choose the element for the minor arcana. These are from Math Art Fun. Math Art Fun is the website, mathartfun.com. It's from the Dice Shop, if you're interested. Okay, that being said, if you'd like a reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. That's James, the number 4, astral@gmail.com. If you're interested in the donation information, that's below, same email. Thanks again, and let's get into your reading. Hello, Taurus. Thank you very much for tuning in to this week's reads. These readings are valid for whenever you come to them. That being said, let's see what we have for Taurus. There's a whole little pile of cards that fell out while I was shuffling, so we'll see what those are. And by pile, I mean like, those are like three. Okay, so the history of this situation is changing. The history of this situation is changing. Well, that seems a little interesting. Oh, can we get more about what that means? The history is changing, or the devil? The devil is a very curious card when it comes to earth signs, because the devil card can talk about Capricorn energy, and it's not Capricorn energy you can kind of roll with. Sometimes it's an energy that you actually do well with because it talks about structure, it talks about insistence on the structure, and it talks about very harsh penalties for breaking or stepping outside of the structure. But it's structure nonetheless. Whatever the situation is, I keep looking back at it. One of two, or maybe both. Either you helped created it, or you were pretty confident this is what this is. This is what this is. Whatever it may be, whatever the situation is you're dealing with. And for valid reasons, for very strong reasons, you have your view of this situation based on what you know about it. And again, you could have helped create it, or you could have been like a major player in the situation. You're like, I was right in the middle of it. How would I not know what was going on? I was right in the middle of it. And I'm getting the history is in question here. And it may not be that what you experienced was not what was happening around you. There may have been other components, up to 3 other components, creating their own energies, adding into the situation. It may have looked like it was more cut and dry, this is what it is, but there was a lot more complication around it that maybe you were not connected with at the time. And this energy is what's coming in. The truth of that energy is what's coming in. It's obviously going to affect the situation. So, I got the Empress, the Two of Cups, and the Strength card. So, there could be up to 3 different situations. This could be talking about a whole situation all by itself that was around this situation. Situation around, you know what I mean. These are good cards. But why was this kept from you? Was it kept from you, or answer before we start questioning everything, right? Five of Pentacles reversed and the Wheel of Fortune reversed. So the Five of Pentacles is like when you're, nothing is being hidden. It's right, everybody's welcome. Everything is welcome. Nothing's being blocked. Nothing's being gatekeeped. That's how I look at the Five of Pentacles reversed. The 10 of Major Arcana is the Wheel of Fortune. Whatever happened did not happen out of random moment. Somebody wanted whatever happened to happen. It happened with purpose. The Wheel of Fortune reversed is telling me whatever happened, happened with a purpose. It was not just random. It happened with purpose. This does add more stress to the situation. But it's also like, whatever's happening, I don't have control over that. I don't need control over that. Probably don't even want control over that, just to be fair. But it's coming in, so it's like, to you it's coming in fast. It's very odd, because it's kind of like, whatever it is didn't happen overnight, but the information came in overnight for you. So you being aware of it happened overnight. It's kind of like, you know, how do I explain this? I've seen this happen before. It's kind of like you found out somebody had a baby last week, and you're like, I didn't even know they were pregnant. And it's kind of like, okay, how'd all that happen? It's kind of like, well, the reality's here. Clearly it didn't happen in 5 minutes, but my information came in 5 minutes, and now I know what's happening. There's stress with this, but it's kind of, I'm not upset about it. I'm like, it already happened. I feel whatever it is, kind of like, if we're looking at somebody had a kid, it's like, well, it already happened, so nothing, what's to be upset about? It happened. I mean, the fact that you weren't included in the information until after the fact, I can see being upset about that, if I'm going to be fair. But I don't feel like I'm gonna bother getting upset with it. I feel like that's a question mark. Am I going to be upset with it? Question mark, you know? Because I do feel like when you're first finding out, you're pulling back. I feel like this is normal Taurus energy. I'm just going to pull back, and I'm going to be like, I need a minute to sit with this. Okay, so all this happened. Nobody told me about anything, and now clearly we're deep in it now. Okay. I just feel like whatever it is, it doesn't even have to be a bad thing. In fact, it's probably not a bad thing. It's the flow of information that I'm not happy with. I think it's the flow of information mostly. So why did that happen that way? King of Cups, half in, half out. Knight of Cups, right side up. And the Hanged Man reversed. So, all this together in the environment is telling me they want you included, but they didn't want you making any decisions. And doesn't mean you were gonna, but whatever reason, they didn't want your input. They want you to be included, but they don't want you to... They don't want your input. I don't know what to say. So for whatever this is, that's why it happened the way it happened. It's very... To me, that feels very stale. I don't really care for it, but it's kind of like... When I think of stale, I think of stale bread, where it's like you can make stuff out of it, but it's kind of like the fact that it went stale, it's kind of like... My first thought might be to throw it out, then I'm like, well, you can do this with it, you can do that with it. It's not moldy, it's just stale. Or like stale chips or something. It's kind of like, well, I guess we could crunch them up and make them into something else. They're not bad. They're not bad for people, but they're not. They're stale, you know? Or if you want to look at it like Peeps. People like Peeps when they're stale. It feels stale. The word stale is like stuck in my brain. There's a choice to be made. And it's up to you, clearly, obviously. I have a weird feeling that some people are going to watch this video and they're going to be like, I don't know what this is about, but for some reason they just watch it the whole way through. And then after the fact, they're going to be like, oh, yep, know what this is about now. Taurus doesn't like surprises, in my opinion. I could be wrong, but I don't think Taurus likes surprises, and this is kind of a surprise thing going on here. I just don't think Taurus likes that. But if I'm wrong, y'all can let me know in the comments if I'm wrong. Because I'm cringing. I'm like, Taurus. I didn't think Taurus really liked surprises, but. So that you have the world coming up. Your reaction to this information sets the stage for the whole. Like I feel like it sets it for the next decade or something. I mean, it's a general read. Take it with a grain of salt. It doesn't have to be a full decade. But it kind of feels like that to me. Like this is going to set the precedent for like a decade. Because when the world comes in, it's like, I don't think this is just a short thing. The shortest I would think would be like maybe a year. And then I'd be surprised if it was that short. I'm thinking more it's going to set it for a decade, just to be fair with you. So you have options, clearly. You are right that this didn't happen the way it should have, and this was not correct the way it came to you. You are right with that. Oh, I hate this saying. I'm going to say it, though. But, you know, you have a choice. You can be right, or you can be effective. And the question is, how do you want to be effective? You can be right, and then it kind of blocks you and keeps you away from the situation. Or you can be effective. You can address it. I didn't really care for that. And then kind of just like, well, I guess this is how this is going to go. Doesn't matter if I like it. I just got to address it for what it is, see it for what it is, and then make it what I want it to be. Holding like a grudge energy is possible here. It's possible. And at this point, it could start off very minimal. I've seen people do this. That's why I keep looking at this. Okay, don't put that down yet. That's what I'm getting. Okay, so this, and I feel like I'm subject to it too. I'm a Pisces, but still. This is a moment where it could be like, well, it bothers me a little bit. But if I don't clear that out, if I don't find somewhere to release that energy, which might be I just got to acknowledge it and be like, you know what, I didn't like that. It's happened now, it's fine. I didn't like it, but I'm moving on from it. There has to be some acknowledgement is what I'm getting. Otherwise, I feel like if there's this small little thing, it's like a seed. And it's kind of like, I'll just let it go and I'll ignore it. But it still bothers me. It's going to grow. I feel like it has to be acknowledged. I could be wrong, but in some form, it needs to be acknowledged. In some form. I have to make peace with it so I can literally let it grow. Otherwise, let it go. If I don't let it go, it's going to grow. It may grow very slowly, but it's kind of like, reminds me of a sumac. The more you beat it back, the more it grows. It's a tuber, so it goes everywhere. It's hard to get rid of. So it's kind of like, got to find a way to make peace with it. Does not mean you like it. Doesn't mean you're saying anything was okay or good. Just making peace with it, in some respect. Because the other option is keeping my eye on the situation, but enjoying it for what it is. I've seen this happen to people before, and I keep getting the same analogy. It's kind of like somebody gets pregnant, has a kid, and then they find out afterwards they had a kid, and like, oh, I have a grandchild now, and they want to enjoy that grandchild. So they kind of have to find a way to make peace with it because this other person constantly cuts them out of things anyway, so if they don't try to find a way to make peace with it, it just creates more of a wall, and that's not something they want either. Finding a way to make peace with it, enjoying what you can out of the situation so you can get the abundance that you actually want, but always keeping an eye on it without holding a grudge. Kind of like, I don't know how it feels like I'm mincing words here, so we just go keeping an eye on it, but making peace with it. Like, not trying to control the situation. Is that what we're saying? 6 of Wands, which is success, and the Tower card, half in, half out. When I say half in, half out, it's kind of like a card comes up like this. It's the dice. But it's kind of like it comes up like this. You don't know if is it going to be half good, half bad? Has it just not shown what it really is yet? It's taking question. Is it a good card? Is it a bad card? You know what I mean? Whatever. Not that it has to be good or bad, but I'm getting like, again, realizing there's only so much I can do with this situation and just trying to enjoy what I can enjoy from it. again, whoever told you the information does want you included. They do. There is some type of like, I want you to be a part of it. I just don't want you making decisions. I keep feeling that here. Whether that's fair or not, that's what I keep getting. If it goes the way they want it to, and you just kind of roll with it, again, I feel like I have to acknowledge I did not like that, but okay, this is how it happened. I want to enjoy this other stuff. There's a lot more possibilities that can happen later. You might want to get in a pattern of finding peace with this situation. I don't think it's the last time we're going to have these type of issues, but just kind of like, I'm not saying it's right, but accepting if I'm going to be a part of the situation, this is going to keep happening. So I have to find a way to make peace with it so it doesn't drive me crazy. Because there's a lot more that could come of this situation, but it's like, I feel like it's on the terms of making peace with how information is coming to me, because it will keep happening like this. I feel like it will keep happening like this. I do feel like I'm included more than not. Probably like 60 to 70% of the time if I go along and make peace with things. I do feel like it's like 60 to 70% of the time I'm included. If not, it might be like 10 to 15%. I'm just saying. Take it with a grain of salt. It's a general read. Readings for entertainment purposes only. All that good stuff. Because if the other side, the person who has control of the information, feels like there's success for the way they're doing things, it goes better for you. Again, it depends what this situation means to you. Would you rather be included 60 to 70% of the time or 10 to 15% of the time? Because I feel like, again, this is like a whole phase coming in. When it does come in, I feel like it's going to last a good decade before anything changes. A good decade. Take it with a grain of salt. All right, I'm going to shut this down here. Hope that helps. Thank you for watching. If you'd like a direct reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. That's James, the number 4, astral@gmail.com. If you're interested, the donation information that's below, same email. Thanks again for watching. Have a great day.